welcome to Zoid Weekly News, the only network, well actually this channel's news network where we cover gaming, sci-fi, science, and more. This week, we're doing a Star Trek special, as you can tell by my hand here. Well, that's it for the intro. Let's get into the first article. New Discovery launch date, May 2017. Star Trek Discovery will now launch in May 2017. It was announced this afternoon by CBS All Access. The new premiere date is driven by the creative team's belief that this will give the show the appropriate time for delivery of the highest quality premium edition of the first new Star Trek television series in more than a decade. Bringing Star Trek back to television carries a responsibility and mission to connect fans and newcomers alike to the series that has fed our imaginations since childhood. Executive producers Alex Kurtzman and Brian Fuller said in a joint statement, "We aim to dream big and deliver. That means making sure the demands of physical and post-production for a show that takes place entirely in space and the need to meet an air date don't result in compromised quality. Before heading into production, we evaluated these realities with our partners at CBS, and they agreed Star Trek deserves the very best, and these extra few months will help us achieve a vision that we can all be proud of." Star Trek Discovery is coming to CBS All Access in May 2017, following the premiere on the CBS television network, and will be distributed concurrently on Netflix in 188 countries and through Bell Media in Canada. Let's hope these extra few months are spent rethinking the ship. You may notice I paused actually, wait, let me pause the thing here so that I have a edit point to put the ship on screen. There we go. As you can see, they really need to rethink that design a lot, because, yeah, to quote Kay from Men in Black 2, it is a clear example of go home and do it again. Well, that concludes this article. On to the next. This next one's a big one for those of you who are into filmmaking and reading, because Sandra Pillar reveals her late husband's insurrection book. Michael Pillar, when he passed away in 2005, was just 57 years old. He left behind many things: his family, including wife Sandra, hours and hours of Star Trek television, and also Star Trek Insurrection, not to mention the millions of fans who enjoyed them, and episodes of other shows he'd written and produced and or created, such as Simon & Simon, Miami Vice, Wildfire, and The Dead Zone. Pillar also mentioned numerous writers during his time with Star Trek, and they continue his legacy. But now, finally, something else he felt he left behind is seeing the light of day. Fade In, The Making of Star Trek Insurrection, a textbook on screenwriting from within the Star Trek universe. Pillar wrote the book years before, and some fans found copies of it online, but it was never officially published until now. The book takes readers behind the scenes of Insurrection's evolution and production, and with Pillar detailing the changes made to the script as the film came to life. StarTrek.com recently chatted with Sandra Pillar, Michael's wife, and a talented singer who, with help from several of Michael's friends and colleagues, at long last saw to it that the making of Insurrection received the printing and release it deserved. Here's what she had to say. It's been your mission, really, to get this book published properly. Why was it so important to you to do so? I wanted to help Michael's dream come true. When he wrote it originally, there were objections from Paramount because they wanted to keep the behind-the-scenes secret, since I believe they see how much people do want to know, and how it keeps them interested. What did this book mean to Michael? Why was it important to him to get it all down on paper for people to read? When Michael wrote the book, it was a true labor of love. He had mentioned so many Star Trek writers and felt that writing a book of the step-by-step process of what can go into writing a script would further his mentoring. He had helped his university, UNC, develop a program to help more students be prepared for the real writer's world. Well, then this was another way he could teach by example. What do you remember of him writing the book? How easy did it come to him? Was he ill at the time? And if so, how did that affect his ability to work on it? Michael was not ill at the time of writing the book. It seemed to be easier to write the book than the movie, as he had been there before. But truthfully, I don't remember specifically things he would say. In general, if he were stumped on a part of the script or book, he would express he was struggling, sometimes even feeling it was so close but couldn't quite get it. And basically he would sleep on it. In the morning he had the answer. He was amazed by that, and he really was amazing. I often find myself saying, I wish I had thought to remember more. What do you personally remember of his involvement in Insurrection? People were shocked that he returned to the franchise to write the film, so was making it such a struggle that perhaps he even said to you at some point something to the effect of, will make a good book one day. He started thinking about it even during the process of writing the script. He made all his notes, kept a daily journal, and it was all fresh in his mind. He thought writing a book of his experience would be a good representation of what the process is that you go through. He mentioned many times how ill-prepared so many writers straight out of school were, because the schools themselves in many cases don't know themselves the way it works in the real world of Hollywood. He felt a responsibility to do something about it. Maybe his desperation for writers and good scripts during the third season of Next Gen and gave him some insights on how to get more good ones. What did he ultimately think of Insurrection, the finished film? He thought it was great. He too was disappointed that it didn't do as well as the other movies, but he felt it was a good story and a good movie. What did you think of it? I truly enjoyed it, and I was right at home with it. It kept it to a human story. It was more of an undercover, covert plot to take over a civilization and planet. Clever, intelligent, I loved it. That's a bit of my personal view on this movie they're talking about as well. Well, back to the article. The film, as you say, didn't do as well as the other movies. It was considered a minor success or a modest failure, depending on how one looks at it. All these years later, we get the sense that people appreciate it more than they did at the time. It plays like an episode of Trek, but on the big screen. Do you agree or not? That's become more appreciated as the years have gone by. I do agree that time has mellowed many to it, but I do hear all the time that for some it was their favorite from the beginning. They loved the storyline and feel it was even ahead of its time. I'm so glad more people are appreciating it now. Often history tells the truer story. Ira Bear and Eric Stillwell both contributed essays for the book. Take us through their contributions and what it means to you that they supported the project. Ira Bear and Michael really got at each other. I wish I had been a fly on the wall of those offices in the Hart building. Those brilliant guys coming from the Hart throwing ideas around, creating great television with, I'm sure, some laughter and some tears. They connected on a personal level, as well as professional, both dedicated family men and, might I say, two gifted wives. We've had it all. They were bonded at the core, they respected each other's work, and I am so proud and humbled by his letter to Michael in the book. It means the world to me and our family that he revealed so much of his heart. So much of his heart. Seasons changing. They suck. Right, guys? Eric Stillwell was Michael's right-hand man from the time of the TV series through Insurrection and longer. He was proud of Michael's need to give back and help new writers. He was also the biggest trekker as far as information. He used to give the tours on Paramount and tell the history. He himself eventually wrote a script, Yesterday's Enterprise. In my opinion, the best episode of Next Generation, if not my personal favorite. I'm not going to do spoilers. You're going to have to see it to understand. And even though it was just the series finale for Next Gen, was one of the best scripts ever. He and Michael were great working partners and friends. You all work together for so many years and you become a family. I can't thank Ira and Eric enough. I also really need to give credit to the woman who did all the work to pull this book together. Our good friend Susan Nicolette, Eddie, who worked tirelessly to help this dream come true. She and Michael worked together on several of his scripts, editing and giving him notes. So this too was a heartfelt effort for her. She was married to his best friend since UNC. What do you hope someone reading the making of Star Trek Insurrection will take away from it? I hope whoever reads it enjoys learning about Michael's personal experience in this process of writing and rewriting, and the meetings and the throwing it out and starting over again. The real experience of it, the process. One secret I just remembered might help you understand. Michael always gave his writers books like Zen and the Art of Archery or Tennis or Mechanics or whatever to help them reach that place inside that lets them be calm and hear those voices of the characters speak. Lastly, it's the 50th anniversary of Star Trek, and Michael played a huge role in not only helping to keep the franchise alive, but in it moving forward. how would you describe his contributions to Trek, and how proud was he of his long association with the franchise? It's funny that I don't think about him as saving the franchise until I heard Ira Bear say it a few years ago in Las Vegas to the auditorium. That's when it hit me. Whoa, really? In that moment, I was overwhelmed, pleased, shocked, proud, and basically blown away. I'm sure Michael's turning red somewhere with a shy and grateful face at being such a big part of something so special to so many. But at the time, he did get to see it in the few conventions he went to with the fans, and he saw their obvious hope for that kind of future for all. The true believers, and we laughed along with everyone else at William Shatner's Saturday Night Live bit when he tells them to get a life. But at the same time, it's so great, it's fun, and people are really interested in and invested in a positive philosophy that humanity thinks about pursuing. Even more so today, the prime directive, if we could only do it here on Earth. There's what we can hope and strive for those goals, and maybe someday in the future we will have helped it happen. And technology is happening, evolving. We also need to evolve, live long, and prosper. The making of Star Trek Insurrection is now available at michaelpiller.net. Sandra Piller also offers copies of it for sale during her convention appearances. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I'm kind of moved to tears here by that article. Because not only next article, Star Trek 50th Anniversary, the latest example of a corporate creator failing fandom. Is the next article. Star Trek and its fandom deserve better. Last week officially marked the 50th anniversary of the first airing of Star Trek, the original series. If you're an avid fan, and you probably already had a rewatch planned for September 8th, if you're not, you might not even know that the 50th anniversary happened. I would have done a complete rewatch of TOS, but sadly I don't have any copies of it on DVD. And I don't even think public access cable did a 50th anniversary special for it. I do have one season of TNG and 2 of DS9, but the one I would really like to rewatch all the way through again is Voyager, because that's my personal favorite Star Trek series. But back to the article. Paramount and CBS, the corporate entities that currently own the rights to Star Trek, planned and executed some events to mark the occasion. For the most part, it has been a lackluster effort from one of the most important American franchises of modern pop culture. Not to mention a storytelling universe that still hopes to make money in both movies and TV. Frankly, Star Trek deserves better. Let's take a look at what Paramount and CBS has done to mark the 50th anniversary year and all the ways in which they are missing a great opportunity both financially and culturally. We need to mobilize the Star Trek fandom. What Paramount and CBS are doing In many ways, it is an exciting time to be a Star Trek fan. And whoop whoop! The franchise is returning to its original home, TV. This very month, a new Star Trek TV series, Star Trek Discovery, which we talked about earlier in the video, will start shooting in Toronto under the show-running eye of Brian Fuller. He of Hannibal, all Pushing Daisies, and yes, Star Trek Voyager, yeah! Fame. This will be the first new Star Trek TV series since Enterprise went off the air in 2005. I mean, it's all kinds of exciting. That's the good news. The bad news is that we won't actually be seeing said new Star Trek TV series until next year, which just seems like a lack of foresight on CBS's part. Really? You think? Can you imagine the hype and cultural momentum to be gained from launching a new Star Trek TV series in September 2016, in exactly 50 years, potentially to the day, that the original Star Trek aired? Frankly, we would have even settled for CBS getting its act together enough to release a real trailer for the new series on September 8th. Of course, we did get a Star Trek reboot. This film with Star Trek Beyond, arguably with the Star Trek reboot film most accepted by Star Trek fandom so far. According to what numbers? Granted, I like the reboot movies, but I've heard a lot of backlash against them as well, elsewhere in the internet. So, as someone who was lucky enough to attend the Star Trek Beyond world premiere at San Diego, the article writer, I can tell you it was a personal year highlight. Paramount pulled out all the stops to celebrate this important nerd event, and inviting all of the cast, handing out fireworks, and debuting the new movie with a live orchestra. Wow, they really did go all out. Frack. I'm sorry I missed it. Also, they gave out some truly epic swag. Of course, a vast majority of Star Trek fans were not present for this fun event, not to mention, well, on that last part, guilty. I wasn't present for it because financial reasons. That's all I gotta say. Financial reasons. Not to mention, this was an event that, though celebrating Star Trek as a franchise, was really more about the celebration of this specific movie. For the official 50th anniversary day, CBS released this celebratory video. Oh, that left much to be desired. I'll have to see if I can find that video, link you to it. The video only features footage from the original series, and the Next Generation, and the reboot films. It's a pretty dude-heavy, which isn't very representative of the Star Trek universe's progressive mission. Oh, I found the video. Yeah, it's on the articles, and well, I'll link it to the article. You can watch the video. When it came down to the actual day, those who seemed to be doing the majority of the celebration were individual fans and then media sites composed of Star Trek fans. And a Laden or geek for the corporate license holders, soon looking to launch a new Star Trek series, as well as to continue enthusiasm for an existing Star Trek film franchise that is directly based on the show. This anniversary is celebrated. This was an underwhelming and arguably even financially irresponsible effort. In many ways, 2016 has been the year of the fan versus the creator, or in this case, the copyright holder. Whereas one of the most active fandoms in the world, Star Trek would not be spared from this ongoing cultural war, where the corporations are often striking back against fan works that step over the line from not for profit to commercial venture. NXR would approve the white whale of Star Trek copyright law. That's a fan series I've heard about that's currently in production. And I don't know how heavily the Paramount and CBS have struck down on them. But it, at the end of the video, I'll have a picture on screen of a fan-made ship I actually drew as kind of a personal celebration for 50 years of Trek. And compared to some of the fan-made ships I've seen, mine leaves a lot to be desired. But I'll leave that up to you guys. For those unfamiliar with the case, NXR is a crowd-funded, relatively big-budget Star Trek fan film, as I just said, and about the early days of the war between the Federation and Klingon Empire that was hit with a lawsuit from CBS and Paramount earlier this year. Since the initial lawsuit announcement, there has been some backtracking on it, as announced by J.J. Abrams himself during the Star Trek Beyond press tour, that was later denied by CBS and Paramount, and who obviously have more say in it if this lawsuit will go forward. Well, that's some pretty heavy backlash from fans trying to make something. I mean, granted, my setup here leaves a lot to be desired myself, because, yeah, what you're seeing is my tablet camera and me, and this, which is a cell phone, one that no longer works as a phone, but I still have internet access. And yeah, if I was to make something like a Star Trek fan film, it would cost a lot of money to get it in the works and whatnot. Because I'd need actors and actresses, props, which, granted, I could make them myself, because I've made well, I can go retrieve that real quick. Okay. Don't know if you can still hear me, but I've got some props I've made of my own, and out of my love for Star Trek. Type 2 phasers. Granted, I could have done better with this, and I currently have in the works a better version. And here's the piece of wood I'm going to be using for the handle. Yeah, these are all made of wood. And this is all done with spray paint. And I, yeah, it left a lot to be desired. And, and with the new one, I'm gonna do better. Uh, and then a pad, which, after seeing some screenshots of the actual pads, I could really improve on, especially in the size. This is a tad undersized, especially when compared to my tablet there. Uh, but yeah, I made those all on my own, and they're made out of wood, uh, because that's the easiest material for me to get a hold of, but that stuff costs money too, so. Granted, I had the piece of wood for the phaser, so that didn't cost me anything, but if I was to make, you know, several for actors and actresses to use on screen, it would take a good amount of money. The pad I actually had to buy the wood for, and that cost me like $5. And that was for 3 feet of wood with that width. And that was from one of the local hardware stores. Plus $4 or $5 for the paint I didn't have. Which, before I repainted the phaser, yeah, that has been repainted since I originally made it. It was just black and primer. But since then I bought uh, that silvery gray color, some old colored paint that I used to make a little Voyager-esque comm badge that subsequently fell on the floor and my dogs got a hold of. So that had to be tossed. But I might remake another one in celebration of the 50th anniversary. Then, so yeah, that kind of stuff adds up. And if you have contracts with the actors and actresses, and they're not just your friends helping you do this, then you pay them. And special effects software costs a lot. So yeah, that kind of stuff adds up. Even for fan films. Though it's arguably not that hard to make a case that NXR threatens the copyright Paramount and CBS holds for Star Trek. The corporation fired a shot across the bow of the entire Star Trek fandom when they released a document officially titled CBS and Paramount's Guidelines for Avoiding Objections. Here's an excerpt announcing intention, which kind of comes across as a thinly veiled lawsuit threat. Notification on my phone, which should be playing the sound effect for notifications on the tablet end there any minute now. So, warning, Though you will probably appreciate the sound effect if I changed to you for notifications. CBS and Paramount Pictures are both big believers in reasonable fan fiction and fan creativity, and in particular want there it is. And in particular want amateur fan filmmakers to showcase their passion for Star Trek. Therefore, CBS and Paramount Pictures will not object to or take legal action against Star Trek fan productions that are non-professional and amateur and meet the following guidelines. And again, as I said, and unless it's all friends or fans putting on the production, or one guy working at a computer screen doing photo editing or whatnot, animations, and then using voice actors. This stuff costs a lot of money to do, which is one of the reasons why I particularly don't really want to get into that kind of stuff. Granted, with the game Space Engineers, I could probably do something. I'm gonna have to cut here to let the tablet charge, and when we come back, we'll be back on the article. So, I'll be back once the tablet. And we're back. If I remember to, I'll do something creative between the cut and this. As I was saying, in Space Engineers, I could probably do something at least with the ships. Get the ships set up and going. If I was to do a fan production, because that would be a whole lot easier than trying to finagle models or CGI here in real life. But I can only do so much in Space Engineers. Before I have to switch to live action footage that if I was, again, to make it a good looking fan production, would have to shell out a lot of money for. And at the time this video is being made, I currently only have 2 subscribers on YouTube. And the most I've currently made from my channel is a penny. A single penny. Granted, if memory serves, way back in the day, pennies were worth a whole lot more than they are nowadays, but nowadays that's not much. So, back to the article. The thing is, some, though not all, of the guidelines are pretty limiting, and they put a limit on the length of the fan production. 15 minutes for a single story? If I've seen, a single episode of a TV series go at least a half an hour, or if not longer.
I'll turn it off in a minute. Go.
I don't know if you can hear family bickering in the background over one of the kids going to bed.
Thank you.
Heck, most of my episodes of this go for at least 20-something minutes. It's the longest I've ever done one comes to an hour. Or just a little over an hour, really. Anyway. And bootleg merchandise cannot be used in any fan films, which means any props, costumes, etc. Will have to be bought from the official store. So they're wanting, from the sounds of it, they're wanting you to basically leave on official sites and whatnot that sell Star Trek merchandise, pay the money to get the merchandise, which reasonable if you have the money. But I don't know if that includes making your own props, because I don't know. You can't use Star Trek clips, okay, understandable. Well, because that's basically their copyright, right? But apparently they understand it takes a good amount of money to do something like this, because they're saying you can't spend more than $50,000 on the production. And I don't know how much official Star Trek phasers and stuff cost. Unless I have to look that up. Probably put it down in the description. And for those of you who actually read the dang description. But if they're wanting you to use official props and stuff that you've bought, you're probably shelling out a bunch of money there. So that would, this is just me estimating, be half that 50,000 gone. And then actors, actresses, if they're not friends who just want to work on the production with you, probably spending in the other half there, and that's not even getting into the special effects, which would be required to do, anything with phasers, or the ships fighting each other, any of that. So, yeah. Again, that's just me estimating. And I'll probably, once I'm done producing this, as while it's merging all the clips together, or go in and find the numbers for, props from different eras, and either link you to those sites or put the prices in the description. It must be family friendly, understandable there, because granted, most of the official Trek, there are some points that seem less than family friendly. Case in point, the scene from First Contact where the Borg Queen asked Data how long it's been since he's satisfied a woman in that way. If you know what I'm talking about. And yeah, that was the kind of way before we saw anything more than kissing, but it's implied that Data and the Borg Queen did the deed. Yeah. Onwards. And you can't involve anyone who's worked on Star Trek previously. I honestly have no idea how you even get a hold of those people. Because, yeah, they tend to keep to themselves. Rather than just try to live normal lives with their families. So, I honestly don't know how they expect someone to get a hold of those sorts of people. If you'd like to hear more about the NXR lawsuit, copyright law, and or guidelines for avoiding... Oh, you piece of crap. Oh, come on. Sorry. The article's bugging out. Guidelines for avoiding objection. Only recommend the podcast fansplaining episode on the subject. Both the article creator and myself on that one. Oh, you buggy piece of... Give me... What the frick? Why do I... Okay, come on. Technical difficulties on this end. But I'm gonna let you guys see just for the frack of it. Come on. Load up. You know, if I ever replace this phone, on screen I'm gonna dress it in a red shirt. I'm sure you guys get the reference. Dress it in a red shirt, and next thing you'll see, it flying backwards with a bullet hole in it. Now I gotta find where I was in the article. Come on. Come on. Quickly. get me down to where I need to be. Come on. Stupid shabla junk. I might do another tactical cut here. Here until I get this stupid thing working again. Come on, stop lagging. Okay, I'm part of where I was earlier. Oh, of course it. Tactical cut. And we're back. Back from that tactical edit there. Well, cut, whatever. This is a big moment in this fan versus creator cultural struggle. But in the context of Star Trek fandom, it is also the worst timed moment ever. During a year in which Paramount and CBS should be celebrating the fandom that has kept this cultural property alive for the last 50 years, they're instead attacking it. It is the latest example of a media conglomerate misunderstanding the aims and interests of fandom and, in many ways, squandering their own financial opportunity. After all, if there is anything else that the powers that be have recently become woke to, it is the understanding that fandom is a strong cultural and financial resource, whereas they have courted, celebrated, and listened to in respectful ways. Here's a clue: Paramount and CBS, the guidelines for avoiding objection, is not an example of this. Doctor Who, a 50th anniversary comparison. It's hard not to compare the Doctor Who 50th anniversary celebrations, which went down a few years ago in 2013. That's a series I've seen a few episodes of, but it's not really my cup of tea. Yeah, I can get references from it, but I don't follow it all that much. To the Star Trek 50th anniversary celebrations, or lack thereof. After all, they hit only a few years apart, and both are titans of the pop culture or nerd world. Clearly, because I've heard of both of, Doctor Who. Again, not really my cup of tea. But Star Trek is definitely my forte. Unlike CBS and Paramount, the Beeb took full advantage of the chance to celebrate 50 years of Doctor Who with great, well-organized enthusiasm. Not only did they have their regular Doctor Who season, but they also created a 50th anniversary special screened in 3D in theaters, and better than it probably should have been the docudrama about the creation of Doctor Who, written by Mark Gatiss and starring David Bradley. I think there's another video that's from that. Both The Day of the Doctor and An Adventure in Space-Time were not just enjoyable standalone adventures in their own right, but joyous celebrations of all that had come before. They were loving tributes to this world and its characters. They were fan service in the best possible way, which is the only kind of fan service I'd be into, even considering how much anime stuff I watch where they've got boobs out in the open. Rewarding long-time and new fans alike for their faithful fervor with moments like this one, in which sees the 11th Doctor being the curator, played by the 4th Doctor's Tom Baker. Oh, that sounds interesting. Doctor Who is so on top of all of these things, it even remembered to wish Star Trek a happy 50th anniversary and welcome it to the 50 Club. Stop being such an overachiever, Doctor Who. Just kidding. Okay. Article writer, whatever. Television has a relatively short history compared to film or theater, which is why these 50-year series are such treasures that deserve to be celebrated. Maybe I'm being picky, but you may accuse me of being too picky. After all, aren't we getting a new Star Trek TV series? Use a new Star Trek film and some cool events? That's far more than nothing, and yes, I completely agree, it is a wonderful time to be a Star Trek fan. And as someone who grew up on the show, I cannot wait to see it back on television again. Same here, dude. Same here, dude. I don't know if you'll see this video, but same here. Where it belongs. However, I can't shake the feeling that Paramount and CBS is really missed and continues to miss an opportunity to celebrate the rich Star Trek universe and its enthusiastic fandom. From where I'm sitting, it represents a distinct lack of planning and organization, as well as an underappreciation for a franchise and fandom that it has inspired so much in so many. Perhaps more than any other year in recent memory, we really could have used an official celebration of the diverse, inclusive, and peaceful future Star Trek has always optimistically imagined for us. Before I conclude this article's segment, I would just like to mention that when they hit 40, they did do quite a lot of celebrating with book releases. Heck, I still have the 2 books I bought back then. And actually both are centered around TOS. As one details an account of Kirk, Spock, and a few others going on an away mission to a planet that would be there one minute, gone the next, and kept doing this, and then they sent an away team down from the Enterprise, and this is the way they portrayed it was it's before original series. This away mission was before original series actually hit the air, or sometime between original series and animated series, or whatever. But anyway, during the away mission, they were on the planet. It disappeared with them on it. And they got transported back in time into a point where it was kind of just before or the Vulcans made first contact with us, where a Vulcan ship crash landed and in the middle of the ocean, and specifically the Pacific Ocean, and were found by kelp farmers. Then and there was a whole government trying to cover it up, subplot, interview with the aliens in Antarctica, all kinds of crap like that. The whole part of that ended with the Vulcans who survived the crash and were picked up by the kelp farmers was making their way off Earth and coming in contact with another Vulcan ship later down the road that took them the rest of the way home. Because back then humans hadn't created warp-capable ships yet. Be there? No. One second. Wait a minute. I'm trying to do something. Let me finish.
I can open this door. I hope you know that.
And then they
Quit jacking off. Let's go.
I'm not. I'm not jerking off. I'm trying to film. Let me film. I don't know if you can hear the beating on my door, but anyways, then Kirk, Spock, and everybody made their way back to the future via the same guy who brought them into the past. And then later down the road, some of the characters who went backwards in time ended up dying on another away mission. And then the other one details a exploration into a region of space near the Tholians. And this region in the space is where a metagenome was found, but the samples they had were incomplete, so Starfleet launched a bunch of missions and built a starbase in the region, and then started working on it. They're both good books. I highly recommend them. Well, on to the next article. In technology for Star Trek this week, ThinkGeek unveils a Bluetooth Star Trek The Next Generation com badge. And let's get into the article. It really is a pretty amazing time to be a Star Trek fan, doll. And all this year, we've been celebrating the 50th anniversary of the franchise and saw a new blockbuster film. Now, just a couple months after the Wand Company released a Bluetooth with the original series communicator, ThinkGeek has unveiled a Bluetooth com badge developed by Fame Tech, just like the one worn by Captain Picard and the crew of the Enterprise D in the next generation. The officially licensed com badge, which is now available for pre-order, plays the classic communicator chirp sound effect when you press it, connects to your Bluetooth-enabled device, i.e. your smartphone, has a built-in microphone for hands-free calling, and accepts commands through Siri, Google Now, or Cortana. Shipping in November and priced at $79.99. And you can pre-order the Star Trek The Next Generation Bluetooth com badge at ThinkGeek. Item description: we have a screen-accurate prop replica of the Star Trek The Next Generation badge in our closet for a while. The only thing it was missing was the ability to emit the classic communicator chirp sound effect when we pressed it. And then we found out an audio company is making a fully functioning, officially licensed communicator badge. Behold, the Star Trek The Next Generation Bluetooth com badge. It hooks up to your phone or device via Bluetooth and has a built-in microphone for hands-free calling. Once connected, one touch answers/ends calls, plays or pauses audio, or accesses Siri, Google Now, or Cortana. And of course, a touch plays that classic communicator sound effect. Warning, you're going to want to keep the micro USB charging cable handy right after you receive this, because making it chirp is, well, irresistible. Well, that seems like it'll be fun, just like, Siri, call so-and-so, or I'm here, kind of thing, Well, on to the next article, if I can find one. In the world of Star Trek gaming, a new partnership between Perfect World Entertainment and Cryptic Studios, between them and a 3D printing company titled EUCL3D, will mean that soon those captains of us who've played STO, which I'll admit I've played it, and I enjoy it, but tell you what, there'll be an extra clip before we conclude where I'll go over my thoughts on STO, and what I would have liked to have seen with it. We'll now have the ability to customize and print 3D models of their own ships. Players will be able to print any of the starships they own in-game with all of Star Trek Online's customization options. And from personalized ship names, colors, shield skins, to entire ship sections like saucers, engines, or anything else that is available in our expansive ship editor. Star Trek Online currently offers over 400 ships, giving captains millions of different customization possibilities to choose from. Ships will be printed into detailed 12-inch 3D models, using the latest in full-color 3D printing technology, and shipped to doorsteps all across the world. Additional details on pricing and availability will be released soon. To learn more about Star Trek Online's partnership with EUCL3D, please visit Star Trek Online's official blog. Even though the article will give you a link, I'll copy that link and put it in my description. And the 3D company's website, which I will probably also link you to. Well, on to the next little segment my desire for a Star Trek MMO like STO, uh, granted, the game itself is good to an extent, but to be honest, it's not the Star Trek MMO I'm pretty sure many a fan would like to see. My desires for such a game would be, well, they did do this, which I am happy they did, which is full ship customization. You customize the look of your ship to look however the frack you want. And then again, they did this in there, which is full character customization. Make a character that looks however the frack you want them to. Things they didn't do that I wish they did were a fully explorable universe sort of thing, which is basically a part of what Star Trek was all about for me. They were exploring the galaxy, discovering new worlds, new civilizations, stuff no one had ever seen before. And we didn't get that in STO at all. Oh, really? Because basically what you got was, here's your mission, and from the Admiral, go do that. It's in a place that has been visited before in the series. You don't get anything new. And everybody gets the same thing. And no matter what their choices are and whatnot. Granted, I would also like, what they did do, which is be able to visit iconic places from the series. These that were shown in all the years that Star Trek has been on TV. Granted, that bit was a little limited because, again, you got that limited little map that you could explore, or when you beamed down to the planet, and you couldn't go beyond that at all. Well, so yeah, that's another kind of desire for me. Be able to fully explore the planet you're on after beaming down, rather than just stick to the strict mission and that you get from the NPCs. He's able to do kind of first person from the ship, kind of like what you got with Bridge Commander, or where you can go third person, view what the ship's doing while it's flying and whatnot, and fly the ship, which you can do in STO. Oh, but then if you wanted to, you could go first person view for any character or whatever, or on the bridge of the ship, and see what's going on from that perspective. And then you fight like that if you want to, or roleplay. Full ship exploration, At last I checked, the only places you could go inside your ship, when you did go to the bridge of your ship in STO, which you could only do outside of combat, is the bridge, engineering deck, and then the area where you had like a mess hall and whatnot. Those were the only three areas you could go to, last I checked. And yeah, I'd like to explore the entire ship, please. I mean, the ship's big. Exploration of the ship. Get to know her. Or find all the crew quarters. Everything. Hmm? Another thing I'd like to see. Hmm? Actually, that's pretty much it. That's my dream Star Trek game. And you get, to freely explore space. Granted, I would also like, to occasionally receive a scripted mission from Starfleet Command, but not have the entire game be scripted mission, scripted mission, scripted mission, scripted mission, and right after another, or with no free exploration. I mean, granted, I would also like some semblance of a good PvP engine sort of thing, because last I checked with STO, the PvP for both space and ground combat were very limited to what you could do. Granted, I would also like, full interaction with stuff inside your ship, if in addition to being able to fully explore the ship. But yeah, that's my dream Star Trek game. Now, I'm gonna go get the sketch I did of that fan ship I made. I'll be right back. Shouldn't take more than a few seconds. Okay, I have for you here both the early sketch work I did, and which I wasn't entirely satisfied with, and couldn't quite get right. Right, there it is. That's the original early sketch work for this. For the ship you're about to see it. Now, things I kept from this to the next one and are, the saucer section and the saw design. Because I liked the original, saucer section I did, which is a combination of original series and next gen. And then the saw's mounting point is 100% original custom for me. Now, here's the final version. As you can see, I switched the angle of the view because that previous angle I couldn't quite get right, but I kept the original series next gen hybrid saucer. Then I added a bit of an original series neck connecting the saucer to the drive section. Part of the design is a bit of another carryover from next gen, which is saucer separation. You can see we still have the nacelles, the little thing back here where there's a hanger. Main deflector dish is, again, Next Generation inspired. And then this is supposed to be a side view. Granted, again, it leaves a lot to be desired, like I said. And now, well, on to the outro. Live long and prosper. See you on the battlefield. Wait, scratch that. I forgot this one part. Alright. You know what? You guys see the outtake? Or what would have been an outtake? Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Live long and prosper. See you on the battlefield.